Hey, how you doing there again, folks? Me again, of course, Brandon Wenzel. Come back at you, another offering off my sampler platter. Yes, indeed, folks, sampler review series of videos I've been doing for a little while now. I go over there, try out food and drink items. Eat stuff, I drink stuff, then, folks, I'm going to talk about stuff. I'm going to let you know all that you need to know about hopefully delicious stuff that time I'm doing this, folks, I'm not going to lie. I actually reviewed this one before a couple years ago. But we'll get into that. Folks, it's super simple format. I'm going to go over there and I'm going to try out food and or drink items for you. Whilst I'm doing so, I'm going to yammer on about it for a bit. Whilst I'm doing all that, I'm inside my truck. And whilst I'm doing all that, folks, I'm wearing a super cool shirt. Folks, when I wear super cool shirts, I always like to highlight the super cool shirt. What super cool shirt am I wearing for today, folks? Well, it happens to be my defamation of character shirt. What the fuck is defamation of character, though? Defamation of character, they were, I'm going to go with were, I don't think they're active, haven't been in a while, out of, I believe, Detroit for a while, and I became aware of them pretty randomly. I got suggested their Facebook page at one point, and I decided to kind of take note of it, and eventually I went over there and I looked them up, saw that, the page hadn't really been active in a few years, but they did have a post, one of their last posts that was on their page saying, hey, if anybody, is interested, we still have like CDs and, some leftover merch from back in the day. So I went over there and I just Hail Married it, sent them a message asking if, they still had any of the stuff available, and sure enough, they did. So I picked up a couple CDs, picked up the shirt. Really awesome band. Like, really, really enjoy their stuff. Their first album is completely available on YouTube, so if you want to check it out, Defamation of Character. But anyway, what am I trying for you today, folks? What are we doing here? Well, like I said, this is something that I have reviewed before. I did it a couple years ago. In fact, I went through just a little bit ago to make sure, because I thought I had. What is it, folks? Well, it happens to be, boom! Oh, God. it's Hostess artificially flavored Twinkies Hostess Twinkies artificially flavored iced latte. There we go, putting the things in the right order. Because everybody knows that when you have your iced lattes, realistically you want that natural Twinkie flavor, but you do with what you can. Yeah, man. So I reviewed this a while ago. It came out, like I said, 2-3 years ago, something like that. And, Hostess did, like, this little run of, lattes flavored, like their confectionaries, their treats. And one of them was Twinkies. So, when I picked this up, I got it randomly at a gas station. And I was like, did I review this? I don't know. And I looked it up, and sure enough, I had, in fact, reviewed it. But I was like, you know what? It was a couple years ago. I've kind of changed things up as a reviewer. And I figured, I'll toss it in, just worst case scenario, it'll be a throwaway review that I can just tag in, so. But let's go ahead, let's give it a go. I mean, I think at the time when I originally uploaded this, I probably had like maybe 200 subscribers or something like that, so, gives people a little bit more exposure to this. Yeah, it's definitely got kind of that. Like, smelling that, it immediately smells like what I remember it being a thing. Oh, I didn't do a thing for a thing. It looks like this. Ha 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 ha! Let's give it a go. I already shook it up, by the way. Just in case you thought I was being negligent with my latte shaking responsibilities. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's definitely kind of what I remembered it being like. So, because when I reviewed these, and I didn't go back to look at my old review. All I did was look to see that I'd reviewed it, but I didn't watch it because I didn't want to have that infiltrate my thoughts on this review. I wanted to go into it fresh. Yeah, I mean, the one that I remember the most was they had one that tasted like a snowball, like a Hostess snowball thing, cupcake and chocolate and what have you. And I remember that one being, I think, pretty much my favorite. This one, yeah. It does sort of have a little bit of a Twinkie flavor to it. Like, I'll give it that. I'm not going to say it tastes, like, outstandingly like a Twinkie, but there's a little bit of a Twinkie aspect to it. But here's the thing, though. When they're going over there and putting together, these flavor combinations to make it taste this way, I mean, like I said, ain't no such thing as a natural fucking Twinkie, so, you're obviously using chemicals and stuff to go over there and kind of recreate, and hell, Twinkies by themselves are basically just fucking chemicals and shit anyway. So it definitely has a little bit of an aftertaste that I'm not super big into, but yeah, that's abrasive. The initial flavor is actually pretty good. Like, the sweetness of the Twinkie flavoring works well with the latte. It kind of just tastes... It tastes sort of like a latte with some cream and sugar in it, but then there's also sort of, just a little something extra. And again, that's kind of that Twinkiness. It starts off nice. The latte flavor is actually pretty nice. It's very smooth. And then, it's sweet. It's obviously a sweetened drink. It still has a little bit of that coffee flavor from the latte. Very little, though. Very little. It really is more about the sweetness and carrying, again, that Twinkie flavor. But again, the thing is, like, it doesn't scream Twinkie at me. It's just, I can go with it, if that makes sense. But then, when you get about 2/3 of the way through drinking it, you get this weird sort of chemically bitterness that is actively kind of abrasive. It is, yeah. Like, it's good up until right about there. Once it gets to that point, it just takes on this, like, completely different flavor profile. And the thing is, like, I don't know what to make of that. Like, part of me, like, maybe it's just, some reminiscent coffee aspect of the latte, but, like, I don't think so. If it is, then it wasn't blended well. To me, it tastes more like it's probably artificial flavoring doing its thing and kind of having its impact. And that is not... I like contrasting flavors. Y'all know that if you watch the channel. That is not a good contrast. The initial run of it is nice and it's pretty enjoyable, and then it gets to that tail end and it's like, yeah, I don't like that very much. But two questions have to be asked. Would I get it again? Would I recommend it? I mean, I got it again accidentally. I should have gone over there and checked to see beforehand, but would I get it again? No. Would I recommend it? Not particularly. I like the idea, but I don't know, man. Twinkie doesn't, for me, hasn't resonated well as a flavor outside of just Twinkies. Because I remember, this was several years ago, I think I might have reviewed it, but I couldn't remember. It's been so long. But Twinkie put out a cereal. Well, Hostess put out a Twinkie cereal. And I was excited for it. I was like, okay, Twinkie cereal. And I hated it so much. I really disliked it. This, I don't hate, but I don't like it either. If it just tasted like that initial flavor, it would be okay. It still would not be anything standout, in my opinion, because, Twinkie as a flavor is kind of ethereal, like, it does have certain defined qualities, but, like, Twinkie is just kind of Twinkie flavor. And I don't know that can really be well represented in any other medium. So, for me, I wouldn't get it again. It's not actively horrible or anything like that, but it's not particularly pleasant, and it's not particularly Twinkie tasting, in my opinion, so I don't see a reason to go back. Unless I forget again and do another review. If I'm recommending it, though, not particularly. They've been around since they were released, so obviously some people are buying them. I don't know if they're buying them because they actually like them, or if, like me, they're just sort of morbidly curious. But I don't have a problem with them existing, and if people enjoy them, I think that's genuinely great. I don't particularly care for this one. I don't think I'm going to re-review any of the other ones, by the way, if I even happen to run into them. This was just kind of a one-off thing for fun, I guess. But yeah, it's hard for me to recommend this one because, again, I just don't think it, for one thing, I don't think it tastes enough like a Twinkie. And then the other aspect is, again, I don't like that aftertaste. So I would personally skip it. Unless you just want to try it for shits and giggles. 5 things before I get out of here. Have yourself a great rest of your day, spectacular rest of your week, monumental rest of your month, stupendous rest of your year. Folks, go over there, have yourselves a truly proper Twinkie-tastic rest of your life. Because, folks, proper Twinkies are proper. You know, there's a reason why it's been doing what it's been doing for so damn long. Just maybe not in a coffee or a cereal format. Final 2 things. Number 1, try to bring some positivity into the world. It's not always possible. It is, however, always appreciated. But what you do if you can't do it all the time, I know I can't do it all the time. Here's what you're going to do, folks. You're going to try not to be an asshole. Folks, not always the easiest thing in the world to not be an asshole. Trust me. I know it. I live it. I'm out there every day with you in it. Life can be stressful and frustrating and just bullshit sometimes, folks. And when we find ourselves in situations where we have to deal with said bullshit, it's important we go over there whenever possible. Take a step back, try to mitigate the level of assholishness in our lives, hopefully do better for ourselves and for those around us. Very final thing, folks, do the thing. Whatever the thing is for you, that's what I want you to go out and do. Folks, maybe you're going to go over there. You know what? I would love to hear your opinion on 2 things. Number 1, if you've tried any of the Hostess like latte drinks, what's your opinion on them? You know, are you with me on it? Where again, you know, at least with the Twinkie one, not so much. Or do you personally really like it? I'd be interested to hear that. Here's the other question I have for you. How do you feel about me doing an occasional re-review of things? Usually when I do a re-review, it's because I tried an item and I didn't feel like it was well represented at the time that I tried it. You know, like maybe I didn't feel like it was made properly, or maybe, you know, I did something wrong. But at the same time, you know, there are items that, you know, it's been, you know, a few years now since I started doing these reviews, where, you know, I might be interested in going over there and giving it another crack, but is that even going to be worth your time? I don't know. So, let me know. Hit me up in the comments about this stuff, and, you know, we'll forge ahead regardless.